वयक्षाघैर्सुरैरमरैरपि सेव्यमाना सदा भूयात् सिद्धिदा सिद्धिदायिनी। सिद्धगन्धर्वयक्षाघैर्सुरैरमरैरपि सेव्यमाना सदा भूयात् सिद्धिदा सिद्धिदायिनी। सिद्धगन्धर्वयक्षाघैर्सुरैरमरैरपि सेव्यमाना सदा भूयात् सिद्धिदा सिद्धिदायिनी।
Pranam, Happy Navratri everyone, Happy Dashara to all of you and Namaste. Welcome to our 9th day of Rudrani festival. Hope you all are enjoying Rudrani, organized by Sanjog Academy of Performing Arts and conceptualized by Srimati Amartya Chatterjee Ghosh ma'am. Today is the last day of Navratri and today we worship Siddhidatri. Siddhidatri Devi, she is the 9th form of goddess Durga or Parvati. Siddhi means supernatural power or meditative ability, and Datri means awarder or giver. So she fulfills all the divine's aspirations and complete the mundane. Kalpana Kishore, she is a multi-faceted Carnatic musician. She is a descendant of legendary Chatpuram Sri Subbu Iyer, one of the first guru of percussion wizard Palghat Sri Mani Iyer. She started performing at the very age of 9 as a soloist. She has awarded by several organizations in USA for her extensive performances. She is one of the founder director of Samgana Heritage Foundation, which promotes Indian classical music in the North American region. She has also been awarded from Music Academy, Krishna Gana Sabha, Narada Gana Sabha, Bhartiyar Award. Now we are having a small Kalpana Kishore solo concert, a masterly composition of Sri Muthuswami Dikshitar in Rag Nilambari, presenting Amba Nilayatakshi.
Navayo
What an amazing performance by Srimati Kalpana ji. We all are overwhelmed by the performance. Now, along with our special guest, I would like to welcome our academic artistic director, Srimati Amartya Chatterjee Ghosh ma'am, to commence the grand finale and having the enriching talk shows for all of us. Please stay with us. Applaud together to welcome our special guest Kalpana ma'am and Amartya ma'am in this conversation. Ma'am, the stage is yours now.
Namaste. Thank you so much, Preeti, for introducing us. And today is the last day of our festival, Rudrani. I'm so much glad to have our special guest, Mrs. Kalpana Kishore. Please applaud together and आपको स्वागत करती हूँ. Thank you so much for accepting our request and have your graceful appearance in front of us. We are very much glad to listen about you, about your journey, which will be very helpful for us, our audience, and also to the learners. So, स्वागत है आपको हम लोग की शो में रुद्रानी फेस्टिवल.
Thanks, Amartya, and it's a pleasure to be with you, especially on this very divine 9-night festival of the goddess. So I think both all the Shaktis are here. So it's my great pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. So first of all, I want to thank on behalf of Sanjog Academy and Our all the dear students, they were very keen to know about your musical journey and as an artist, first as a student, then as an artist. So if you can share some of the.
Sure. Actually, I was initiated by my mother in particular into music because she herself was a Vainika, a Veena player, and she had learned from Chitti Babu, the very famous Vainika. And of course, she was not like a concert performer, but she was so interested in music, and same with my dad. So he was very passionate. So that basically spurred. I mean, like the ambience is fully filled with music. Always, it's about talking about concerts, and I mean, it was like breathing music all the time and hopping from one organization to other to listen to all the stalwarts. So, but frankly, I was very much enamored by dance, I should say.
Oh, wow.
And
I didn't know that. Amazing.
And so I mean, my mom used to say that when I used to see anything in the TV, those days it was only the TV, right? So, and I used to start dancing and that. And when I asked her, why didn't you put me in dance? Because she said, the only thing was that music you could just carry on, but dance is something physical. So you need to be really fit. And so that just made her decide that maybe instrumental, because she herself was Vainika. So I actually started playing Veena by myself initially because she used to have a lot of classes at home. But then later switched to violin, because violin is a very versatile instrument in the sense that you can play Indian classical, you can play Western, you can play fusion. I mean, you can play any genre in violin. It's a very versatile instrument. So I think my mother just thought about it, and she just gave a violin one day in my hands, and that's how brought a master, and my journey started from then. And of course, my dad was in LIC, so he used to keep getting transferred every 2 years. So it was a challenge for my mother to find a guru rather than a school. Because school, anybody could tell the best school in the town, but nobody could tell about a great teacher there. So she used to go, and find out about the gurus and who will be the best teacher. And I should say she really struggled because we were in very remote places. Like we were in Kadapa, we were in Calicut. It was not that we were in the cities, where she could get a guru easily or something like that. So, but in spite of that, I continued and worked. And so I have 11 gurus. So that's the journey. And of course, I learned, finally, I came to Chennai because that's the seat of Carnatic music. And I was very fortunate to learn from Sangeeta Chudamani, Srimati T. Rukmani. And she's a wonderful person and a wonderful violinist and a vocalist. And then subsequently, my journey slowly spurred into, I got into Hindustani. I love Hindustani music. And then I met my guru, Vishnu Chittan Balaji. He's a professor of BHU in Kashi, Varanasi. Once when I went on a spiritual tour with my friends, somebody told me here about this person. And when I went there, I was like, I didn't know what to say, because he has done a lot of unique research. He's constructed a lot of violins with 40 strings. Violas, and very innovative. Not only that, he has done Swaramandals, and very versatile person. So I still continue with him. So that's how my journey as a student, it started to a professional. And then, of course, I've done my master's in music because I decided that this is going to be my career, my passion and my career. And then I went to the United States. I was there for about 13 years. So kept myself self-motivated. And I used to come every December season, in Chennai, that's very famous.
Magazine.
And yes, and continued with my guru. And also parallelly, I learned vocal music from none other than Padma Bhushan P.S. Narayan Swami, and also Shri K.V. Narayan Swami, who inspired me to sing. So slowly I started singing also. So there I am before you now.
Amazing, to know about you, about your journey. It's really, give us some insights, to having, so many versatile gurus also in our life too, who actually still now they're actually, blessing us and providing the knowledge. So we are all
And each,
lucky.
and also each one, they have a speciality. Like that's how I had so many gurus. So specifically, if I want to learn some Tamil kritis, I had to go. I went to Satalapati Balu. Then if I wanted to learn Ragam Danam Pallavi, I went to Pallavi Venkatramaiah. So this was how I went to different people and tried to get some knowledge, which is our strength,
And this Indian classical music and dance, I feel like it's like a ocean. So,
Oh, yeah.
and we are just going into deep into this ocean, and every time we are gaining so many things from our gurus and mahagurus, I think. So it is never-ending process, and it's such a beautiful journey, I feel like, for all of us, for all the artists. Fraternity.
We are always students,
Yes,
most of the musicians I think would agree on that, because we are learning from somewhere. It may be from a child, or it may be from anybody who comes on the street or in the train, even with the harmonium. Sometimes if it's so melodious, it's like wow. It's the different way. There are so many talented people, and age is not the barrier. Age or religion or sex, gender for that matter. It doesn't really matter at all. It's
so true. I really
music,
agree. Yes.
dance. Art is art. So.
Yes, actually, music has no boundary. Actually, this is the ultimatum for us. So next, I really wish to know, like, we all have faced, the very struggling time in the last year, since last year till now. Also, it's like the pandemic situations we all are facing. So during the lockdown, every artist, used to post or share their experiences, or many artists, went through some depression also. And also some artists got some motivations. So there is some, up and downs in everyone's life. So as an artist, when you're facing, means all of us are faced, but as an artist, how you have seen that time, and how you have, cope up with your musical rivas, performance with that time. So it would be, for us, it might give us that, the motivations, if we can, hear from you.
Sure. See, to be very honest, initially it was, the Riyaz was very difficult, challenging, because the support system had totally collapsed. And we really, as artists, we depend on support system. Let's be truthful and honest about it. And so I should say, got engrossed in a lot of work at home, which was very good, in fact, because it was a change. It was like, you are like, you're coming to a different zone now. And then, of course, once that became part of it, you accepted it, and you have to bounce back, obviously. So at that time, I got to do some interesting projects, like devotional projects, like in vocal music. So that's how I, along with my student, I released, in the sense, Gitanjali, they released Aigiri Nandini, which is a very famous shloka, and then Ganesha Pancharatnam, then Durga Chalisa, then there was a fusion thing that we did, Mahaganapathim. So I think I got to really collaborate, in a different way. And also, I was very happy that even my student could come in and shared. I mean, students were really sick because how much of work and how much of online we are always used to. This is like it's a oral tradition, right? So it was kind of a real welcome for me also, and for to bring my student, give her a challenging opportunity also to team up. And so I would say that I've never did that before. It was classical and it was in violin and vocal, but this was really opened different opportunities, to experiment with shlokas, and they were all video shoots, so that kept me busy, I should say. And of course, I thank God because, see, those of us we have a support, then financially, that's really a blessing, I would say. But for artists this is the bread and butter. I mean, we are all professionals, but when it comes to this particular situation, when there are challenges thrown around, I think it was definitely challenging for those. And no matter how many classes you take or whatever, it is challenging because you don't know when it's going to end. We still don't know whether there's a third wave or it's all come to normal. It's coming back to normal. See, nobody can predict the future still
Correct.
because it's
Becomes
it's
so
there.
unpredictable, actually. And that time, I feel like, as you say, that some artists were not financially strong, and we literally, put up a forum, and we also, supported. Whoever, like, by God's grace, we are having that support system. So whoever don't have that support systems, we all, we push. All the artist fraternity, I think, did the same thing. And along with
Exactly.
amazingly, it's beautiful to know about your journey as an artist, of like having so many good productions you created that time. So definitely it's a different journey for all of us. So yeah.
So as you said, for a few, it opened vistas, and technology, we had to advance technically also. Otherwise, necessity is the mother of invention. So when there is a need, you start probing into it more deeper. And when there's further need, and you'll have to educate yourself on those things.
And day by day, we are actually educating ourselves. I was not a technology friendly person, but yes, definitely this pandemic had taught us at least to, cope up with that situation, I think, for everyone. And
Exactly.
The journey should continue. I feel like it's never ending.
Yes.
Our journey for itself journey, as an
Because
artist.
for us, yes, because for us, we need inspiration. That's one thing, of course, we miss online, because there is no face-to-face audience rapport, because we need a sabash, we need a ballet from the audience to wow, kya baat hai. We need, I mean, it's a give and take thing, right? And because it's emotional, music is emotional, devoid of emotions, and emotion is with people, right? A computer, when you're online, I mean, we can just see each other, of course, we can feel that, but not to that
vibes actually is missing.
Exactly. So it's actually a different culture altogether. It was a big shift, I should say. We all had to kind of accept that and say, man, this is going to be the norm for at least a couple of years, maybe. Actually. So let's go with it. Yeah, let's go with it. And I'm very glad that many sabhas, like the organizations, they revamped their setup. Yes. And they also started because
all the digital events actually started actually. And last year, our academy was, initiated this Rudrani festival, and we are actually, having so much fun of definitely doing digital event. Definitely the live performance, that ambience, that flavor are missing, but I feel at least we are connected. Whoever are there, they are actually doing their sadhana. They are continuing their practices and presenting. We could able to present our art at least through this platform, digital platform. At least we are lucky enough. If it has happened, previously, like 20 years or 30 years back, it won't be possible. That time it was a very
Exactly. So we should be happy that
yes.
the COVID has spurred technical advancements, and both the artists and the organizers, both of them have come together, as to how to cope up with this. So that's a wonderful thing. That's a wonderful thing. And even people abroad, a lot of NRIs come for the festivals and all that. So they have also, everybody is adapted to it. So it's
True.
wonderful that nothing has come to a stop. See, life didn't stop. Life cannot stop. It has to go on. So each one finds their own way of coping up, how to get to that. So considering that, I think we have really dealt with it in a very nice way and accepted it and gotten used to it now. In fact,
I agree. So my next, thing I really wish to know, like in an artist's life, every performance has its own, aura. Like every performance, teaches us some new thing. So I really wish to know in your life, what is your finest performance as a performer, and what is the take on that you received in that time? So if you can share with us.
yeah. See, I at a very young age, I got an opportunity to play for Dr. M. Balamurali Krishna.
Oh,
So,
great.
so that was, yeah. So that was like, I mean, you know how it is. Like, at that age, I mean, at any age for that matter, but for that age, being a teenager, and so somebody, the organizer feels that this person is capable of handling, of sitting on the stage with such a doyen.
Yes.
That was one of my very memorable concerts. And you know how Dr. Balamurali Krishna is, you never know what he'll do on stage, and he can play so many instruments.
Giving me the goosebump also, sharing.
And he knows to play the violin, viola. I mean, he's like a master. So he would look at my fingering and then change the swaras, and like pick up in a sportive way, and pick up a Panchama Varjya Raga. Generally in violin, it's difficult to play ragas without Panchama. It's like, it's a challenge. So he knew the ball game altogether of playing the violin. So it was very challenging and had to be like alert all the time. So that is one of my really memorable concerts, and still stays fresh in my memory. And one more is when I went to South Africa. That was my first tour abroad. There was one person who, after the concert, we were a group. After a concert, we had gone to somebody's house for dinner or something, and I don't remember dinner or lunch. And he came with a violin and he gifted it to me. So I was like, wondering, like, I mean, what's happening? So he felt so overwhelmed. He said, your music touched my heart. So I wish to present you this. So I said, I mean, whatever, it needn't have been a violin, or it could have just been a small, your words itself, it's a great, for an artist, I think more than money, the words of the Rasikas are really.
Yes, and the soul connection to the Rasikas.
Yes, that is your soul. And that one word or sentence is more than enough for you to, whether you like it or not, because it's always very ironic. When we like it, we feel, oh, we could have done something better. Then the audience will say, that was the greatest thing I heard, So, man, okay, no judging now. Let them be the judges. They are the judges, right? Obviously, they are the judges. So that was one of my really memorable concerts.
Excellent, excellent. So now I just wish to know about your future plans as an artist. Like, what are the upcoming, performances, or your production? So what are there, in your mind? So if you just share with us.
Sure. I've not thought about really, because it's like, but I've done one production where the audio recording is over.
Okay.
And I will just keep it as a suspense because
Yes.
we need to do the video shoot for that. And one of the great music composers
Mhm.
in our industry, he's a film composer, a music composer, but he's very good. His name is Ramesh Vinayakam, and he's very popular. And he was gracious enough to do the background score for a
Oh.
Carnatic Kriti. It's
Okay.
Carnatic. We have chosen a Kriti, and two students of mine have sung with me in that recording. So it's a trio, basically, I should say. And we were about to do the video shoot, but we are still now waiting for everything to get clear because it'll involve us maybe traveling or, so that's one thing that I'm seeing in the near future. And
Yeah.
apart from that, there's another vocal production, a duo vocal that's yet to be released, maybe after Navratri or maybe, I don't know, on the same day that the conversation
We are
comes.
waiting and looking forward, and best wishes for your future, all the plans that you are sharing with us. Thank you for sharing with us, because we always keen to see and learn more things from all the forms. Actually, I feel like if you are learning Kathak means you have to know all the, at least you should understand
Yes.
basically all the different instruments, music, vocal, everything, our instruments like tabla, pakhwaj, everything you should also understand and relate with your form. So I always
Because you can always take the best that you like.
Yes.
It's all about aesthetics. Music is about aesthetics. So
Actually.
that is one of the beauties of my guru's parampara, VKV parampara, where they see music as a bouquet. So bouquet it has different flowers, beautiful flowers, different colorful flowers with different fragrance. And you give the bouquet. So you take from the best from everything and make it your style, and you present it. So I think, and especially in the modern era, I feel there's a lot of exchange happening, which is really a good thing. So as long as your roots are strong and you know what you're doing,
Yes.
according to your conscience. Again, everybody's conscience, we have a conscience.
Yes.
What is good for me may not be good for somebody. What is best for me will not be best for somebody else. So it's each one's choice. So as long as we're doing it with conscience, without, I would insist on, without letting go our tradition. That's very important, I should say, because in the name of doing something different and fusing together, I think I would honestly feel there's a lot of things like this going on, but I think you should hold on to your root and open out. The bud is there and you open out and you can take a lot of aesthetics and beautify it.
Actually, I also
I'm sure
agree, 100% agree with this, and it's a beautiful concept of always appreciating others and doing your own experimental work, but never forget your roots, because this is means for me Kathak is my language. I can do any experimental work, but I can't ignore Kathak and doing some other thing. So really, it's my identity. So it's
exactly, because that's how we are identified as, right?
Actually.
So who are you? I'm a Kathak dancer. Who am I? I'm a classical violinist, vocalist. I mean, South Indian, Carnatic. That's our identity. So I think we should always, in the name of popularity or, you can say financially or, I think we should have some yardstick, some boundaries where we say, hey, we don't cross this. It doesn't mean lack of freedom. Having a boundary doesn't mean lack of freedom, because within that we have so much of things to explore and experiment and do. So that is the beauty. That is the beauty of music. Any music, it's the notes are the same. Just like the is. Most of the languages have it, and only the way of writing it is different. So I think dance, if I play something, I'm sure you can do the abhinaya for it, just as a Bharatanatyam dancer does it in a different language, So
True. In this context, I just want to share. Means I used to share with my students also this 10 reasons why we're doing the Indian classical music and dance, why we're learning, and this 10 things I want to share. If you just express through your way, I will just read it out. What are the 10 reasons? So first reason is self happiness forever and gets rid of depression and anxiety.
I mean, yeah, because if you see it scientifically, a lot of experiments have been done proving that music can be used for therapy.
Actually, yeah.
So therapy means all depression. These are all like diseases, which can be cured. And there are ragas for each thing, like blood pressure, diabetes, and depression, and there are so many things, because the swaras are associated with the chakras.
Yes.
And the diseases are nothing but not the proper alignment of chakras causes these diseases. So I think the musical vibrations, that's why we say Saptaswaram, right? Shobillu Saptaswaram, that's what Tyagaraja says, because the shining 7 notes, and Tyagaraja says Nada Tanumanisham Shankaram. So he says, Shankara, you're the embodiment of Nada.
Yes.
And out of your 5 faces, the Saptaswaras have come.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take all the composers, I am talking in regards to Carnatic music, so there have been like saints who have said this day in most of their compositions. So
yes,
there's nothing to debate about it, that music because that's why people come. They want to relax. They want to
all
forget
about self-happiness and rid of the depression. That is main thing. And one thing is like recently it's the music therapy, the introduction of the dance therapy, how much it helps a person to heal with their all the problems, depressions and anxiety. So it's a very beautiful thought, and the more first reason I feel. And the second
also one more point to add, and this is not like allopathy, right? You just pop up a tablet and you're okay. People should understand that this is like slow. You can maybe compare it to Ayurveda, because it has to seep in. It's like sadhana. So you listening to that to get rid of something. It's again like healing, it's a process,
Second reason, build strong concentration and memory power.
Yeah, because when you learn music, you're supposed to by heart, and especially Indian music has lyrics, and of course South Indian music, it has a lot of lyrics. So if you have to really learn kritis in different languages, so language always spurs the the brain, it keeps the brain active, it increases the neurons. That's what they say. So music sung in different languages, learning different melodies, ragas, notes. I mean, there is so much. It's like as you said, it's like an ocean, It's like studies, you can't become a doctor overnight. You need to start from ABCD. So Sarigama Padani, we have to start similarly.
I feel like I feel like it's a constant process. Many parents ask me, ma'am, it's this dance class, this music class is all are the hobby classes. No, I asked him, like, see, if you don't have that, tenacity or, your love, your willingness, at least to continue, pull it, at least for the further studies, then there is no point of joining these classes, because this classes, classical class, are literally, gives us that much of discipline. I feel like that much of, that's, as you said that, and it's a very good example how you, shows with the allopathic and with the Ayurvedic medicine. So it's beautiful.
And that's precisely why it should be mandatory in schools.
Actually. Now
see, we had moral science, as kids, we had moral science where we used to learn about a lot of moral values through stories or, but now there's no subject. I don't see any subject like moral science. So music also should be like integral part, just as you have physical education, which I think is being kind of introduced in the curriculums, but it should be mandatory, so that
yeah, some boards, educational boards.
Yeah, and you need to sow the seed of for interest, right? That seed of interest. Even today, we are artists. We are talking to each other because our parents took the initiative to put the seed and took paints to put water and grow us like that. So it's not difficult. I wouldn't say it's difficult, especially now you have technology, you have so many things, so you can use it for good purposes, and bring it as mandatory in the curriculum.
Yes, true. I 100% agree with you. And the third thing is makes you follow a discipline and value-added lifestyle. So yes, that's we.
Yeah, because most of the kids, especially when they are learning instrumental, they are supposed to sit in a very particular way, So they say they learn yoga, but when they come here, they're not able to sit even for 15 minutes to play one sa and pa. So, discipline, you don't think of anything because I think sports, you're always moving around. So it's like jolly for the kids. But art is like discipline, you need to be in one place, sit there and finish it, and so it is a discipline, and you have practice hours, so that's a discipline.
Yes, I also agree. And the next reason is only prevalent educational system which teaches to respect elders and the group.
Absolutely, because especially now, I would say, like, the parents teach like you should do namaskar to your guru, and there are occasions when the tradition has come around in such a way that it's so important to respect the guru, and do that. So it's automatically there in the culture. So the children learn that,
And I feel like in today's generation, kids are more, attracted with the Western culture, or, the saying hi, hello to there are, gurus also, teachers. Though we all belong to this generation, but still we have that foundation. So we always try to teach the ethics, like how to do with the first is the like guru ko pranam, and then bhumi pranam. So these are like the discipline, and you should wear, in our class also we used to follow, like, we used to wear the kurta. It's never of just coming, and I think for the music, classical music also, like, wearing at
there are like
and just join the class. It's not like that.
Exactly. So you're right. Of course, the days have changed.
Yes.
But I think it's very important that the onus lies on the guru to be very emphatic about certain things which should not change, because it's for the good. It's not, we are not blindly following something. We are first, of course, we choose a guru, and parents have an onus in choosing the right guru for the children.
Yes.
And he's a model, just as for kids. See, they say Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. It's because the mother is the first one who gives the birth. And then Pita, she only shows the child, the infant, the father. She says, hey, this is your dad. And the dad shows the guru. He takes the child for admission and which school to put, and they decide. And then once Mata, Pita, Guru shows the way to enlightenment, which is Devam, that is God. So people have not just kept Sampradaya or Shastras just for today people can ask, what's the proof? Then where's the proof that God exists? You can ask questions. And you can go on asking questions, or why do you associate an instrument with Saraswati? Where is the proof she's having a veena? There was one child who asked me, there are so many questions, interesting questions.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a responsibility of the guru to explain logically, because nowadays kids ask for explanation, which is good. We used to blindly accept. I should say that.
Yes.
But you should be in a position to understand and convey it in an effective manner, that this is the reason why we are asking you to do this. So now it's up to you to choose. I'm sure the child will think and say, yes, okay, there is a reason for it. Reasoning. This is there of reasoning, I think,
True.
So
definitely. So another reason is like learn the rich culture about our Bharata and its importance. Yes, the culture
Yeah, I mean,
we are actually carrying, and Indian classical dance and music obviously have that much of beautiful.
I think our religious system itself is like that. That we need to, art is part of all those things.
And we always feel, to being Indian and to carrying this, this art form with us.
Yes, because the content is also spiritual, right? It's on
Yeah.
gods, goddesses, it's on devis and devatas, and so you have to have a mind inclined to that to understand the bhava of the sahitya.
Yes.
Then only it comes
Yeah.
out. Right?
So your all the your comments is just coming in the next reason, path to spirituality in a simple and easy way. Actually, is the divinity of like swatik bhava in our term also in a Chaturveda Abhinaya.
That's why Tyagaraja says Nadopasana. Nada Upasana.
Beautiful.
He says that. So that's all. One word conveys the whole thing. That's a margam. That's a way to. It's like different rivers. Ultimately, there are so many rivers, but they all end in the ocean.
Okay.
So there are so many sadhana methods. They all again go to the Almighty. So it's
True. And the next reason is knowledge of beautiful languages and its beauty, definitely. And it's a multilingual Indian culture. So we are having a beautiful language, and all the art form is carrying their own language.
Exactly.
So yeah, so it's just beautiful
languages, their dialects, so many compositions in like folk compositions. There are so many forms, musical forms, where so many languages are employed, through music. So
I feel like in one life. Yeah, sorry.
That's the beauty of our the raga system, where there are so many innumerable melodies, like extolling different deities or nature or the Navarasas.
Yes.
You have Padams and Javalis, which bring the Nayaki Nayika Bhava. So it's beautiful.
So that's why I was thinking of like, our one life is not enough to learn or judge with this all composition. We have, reborn and to do this.
That's why I always think, actually, I mean, I'm just saying it, okay? So like people, we say, oh, you're so lucky, you're into music, you're always. So I always feel that music at home is wonderful, but music on stage is a bit pressured, because of the deliverables that we have.
Yes.
So for an artist, professional, I think it's pleasure and pressure. It's both combined.
So nicely, said there. Yeah, and another reason is the cleanses your aura. Cleanses your aura. Keeps you protected from bad sangha or the accompaniment. So yeah, definitely this cleanness of your aura. So
because it's positive energy, right? It's all positive vibrations, divine vibrations. So needless to say, it will, that's why it elevates that level of even reaching the Brahman, because that's the power of music. It can elevate you.
Yes.
As long as you do that kind of sadhana and look at it in that way, approach, it all depends on your approach, but it's possible. You can attain the Brahman. That's what the composers, all the composers say about, the beauty of music and dance.
And it's, definitely. And it actually, clear your all negativity. That's why you say that, the positive feeling, it's always, comes when we are reciting the bowl, like in your, like the sargam, you are, singing repeatedly, like for us that, repeating, reciting that bowls, it gives us, that much of power of, it's like the meditation. If you are the tatkar, this, the simple footwork that we used to do in Kathak. So it's takadiga, 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 takadiga. If you're doing it for the longer hours, it's a meditation. So
exactly, because it's like a mantra, you're repeating it constantly. So you get that energy. So you're energized when you're not tired. See, like many people say, oh my God, I have so many hours of work. But when we do so many hours of riyaz, we are like, oh, we have to stop it.
Yes.
Can't we continue?
Yes.
Man, I need to think of something else. We always feel that let's come back to it.
Yes.
I'm sure left to all of us, we would just leave us in a room. We would not even know like how many hours
Yes.
are, whether it's day or night.
Correct.
That is the beauty of music. It never tires you out. It never tires you out.
Actually.
Only when you stop, you feel that, okay, man, okay, we'll take a break and come back. But that's
After the rivers, we feel that satisfaction that we can't explain. And then it's lots of, lightness actually comes in our mind, in our body. That lightness is actually the different feeling. Like one artist can only, or the learner who is doing his or her sadhana, I think they can understand that feeling.
exactly.
It's will not understand.
It's a bliss. It's like a bliss,
Yes. Yes.
So as you said, I think only the artist would understand that bliss, because it's something that we experience. It's experienced. It's not something you can just talk about. You need to experience it.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So the next reason is vision towards perfection and truthfulness. Just we mentioned right now. And the last point, which is actually very same with the first point, is most importantly gets rid of nomophobia and gives ample time to think good and create wonders. This last line I really wish to put it in the quote of like create wonders. So yes, so artists only can create wonders, or artists
we talk about that was magic created on stage. When you see the greats, like when we come together, like we do, when we practice, we do individually. And the beauty of classical is we never rehearse. It's impromptu on stage. It's not like Western music where you have an orchestra, you have to rehearse and you go, because of course there are so many people. But I'm sure many people ask, I have that experience when you go for concerts, how long did you practice together? There's no practice. We just come on. So that's not digestible. They can't digest that because, man, how is it possible? And we learn the same song in different, as you say, gharanas, we have like different padandarams, we call it, banis. We call it like bani. But when we get on stage, like if I play violin with the vocalist, I play with the flautist, I play with the mandolin, I play with sometimes with veena, I play jugalbanji with sitar. I mean, violin is that's why I said it's a very versatile instrument. It's a solo, it's an accompanying instrument. So when I this is something important that I should say, because I'm a accompanist also and a soloist also. So my roles are different. When I'm a soloist, I'm the queen. But when I accompany somebody, I need to make sure that it gels with what they're singing. And ultimately, it's the entire performance that matters there. How the entire concert has come out. So it's a teamwork. So we may not, initially, we may not never know each other. We would have heard of each other. We would have not even heard how that person sings, or that person would have not heard how I play. And when we get on stage, I think wavelength, we come into that wavelength.
And that magic happens on stage.
Exactly. So that's what happens, that happens, whether it's a brilliant thing or whether it's a trial. Sometimes when you try, it's wonderful, It's because that's the beauty. You create music there or recreate. Same thing with dance. You create. No matter how much you rehearse, you recreate it and create something new, that comes out without even you knowing it.
Correct. So that's the thing, I also, motivate my students also, to create your own thing also. Definitely, you should learn from your guru. Definitely, a teacher help a learner, but learner should also create some of the her own version. Never copy your teacher. At least get the inspiration from your teacher, get the knowledge from her, but never copy. Make your own identity. As I always mention, like go for a new creativity. Go for it and do it. Whatever it's if it's not perfect, don't worry. You should go and attempt that. So creative
Yeah,
they needs to build actually by their own.
absolutely. And I think that's a process of evolution because initially it's just like children, they learn by emulating their parents or friends. So I think a student should first, it's not should, I should say, automatically that will happen. Like I remember even today, like initially when I was like, I used to even sit the way she sits, take and keep the violin the way the guru keeps, we notice certain things. Like even with my guru, when he plays and I'm like, oh, how does he keep it? How does he pick up the bow? Or what is it that is, you get fascinated because they're the models for you. And then once you have understood the essence of what you should really get because of constantly, that's why you should be in touch, always in constant thing with the guru. That's why it's very important, they say.
Yes.
And then it rubs on you automatically. And then you start slowly, as you progress, your levels start increasing. When you come into the Manodharma section where you have to create something at one point. So then I think the influence rubs and it beautifully blossoms. That's how the student becomes, more and more better at the art.
Actually, very, very much true. And I really appreciate, your beautiful thoughts on this 10 reasons that we discussed right now. So I hope that the learners who are watching right now, they are gaining so many inputs actually, for their future, work and future thing can be, more stronger, I think. So right now we come to our end. And initially, we have heard your performance. We have, heard your playing of like in the last recorded version. So we want to listen your life, a small, glimpse of your violin. And if you, in this today's the very auspicious day of Vijayadashami. So we can offer together to Goddess Saraswati. I think it will be a great way to end our digital festival, Rudrani.
So, absolutely. Before we start that, so I would advise the learners, the students of any art for that matter. So it's very important to first have Guru Bhakti, of course, and of course to the parents who have initiated you into that. And then it's very important to pay keen attention to what your guru says and teaches and do the practice or the riyas. That's very important because absolutely that matters. Ultimately, that matters, So then only you can see yourself growing, that's very important. And also, listening is very important, just as seeing and learning in dance. I think for music, it's not like technology where today there is a iPhone, like yesterday it was like iPhone 10, then it's 11, then it's 12. But for music, I think for any art for that matter, you need to go back. You need to go to listen to the older generation, how their concerts, how they did, because you have to go backwards. So you need to listen to a lot of veterans, old is gold music and dance in India.
Yes,
that's something I would suggest because I have noticed that the modern generation doesn't have the habit of listening to the older generation. I mean the 60s and the 50s, 60s and 70s, because we also came from there. We listened and that's how we absorbed like a sponge. That's how we did. So listening, all the generations, listen to this generation also. Now technology is there everywhere. You can get access very easily to any concerts you want. Any person you like, you can get access. We were playing the tape recorders, the cassettes those days. So we have come a difficult way. Now it seems to be difficult, not when we were learning, because that was a pleasure for us. So make use of the technology, dig in more, listen to old and masters, the veterans who may not be with us now, but the music is always there. So we still remember those beautiful golden days of them, their concerts. So on that note, I would end and wish you all a very, very happy Vijayadashmi.
Yes, wish you the same. And yes, lastly, if you wish to, gift us
Sure.
your with your performance, I think that will be the grand finale actually.
Sure. What little I know, and since it's the eve of like Saraswati Puja and Vijayadashmi, I thought I'll play a kriti in Ragam Saraswati itself.
Amazing.
So the name of the ragam is Saraswati, and even Hindustani they've adopted it from South. It's called Saraswati, and it's a very popular composition by the great G.N. Balasubramaniam. It's in Rupakam Talam, which is a cycle of 6 beats, and so let's celebrate Saraswati with music and dance. So Saraswati Namostute Sharade Vidya Prade. That is the Pallavi of the Kriti. So now,
क्या बात आहा मन एकदम छू लिए जैसे आपकी सुंदर ये म्यूजिकल स्ट्रिंग्स. ओ गॉड, Wonderful, wonderful performance. Thank you so much. I think all the audience, whoever, myself.
Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much.
Let's have a dialogue. Just for the Saraswati.
I will try.
Saraswati. Beautiful.
Excellent, excellent. God, such a blissful experience. Thank you so much. So right now we are having very interesting thing that our students also, wanted to know more about you. So it's a rapid fire round, and
Oh.
we are having some questions. So you have to quickly answer. Okay. So first, favorite color.
Red.
Your favorite pastime.
Reading spiritual books.
Your favorite song.
Favorite song is a hard thing. There are a lot of favorites, but my favorite raga is Todi.
Okay. Favorite actor.
Oh, I'm bad at that. I have no favorites in that. I mean,
Okay, all of
I
them.
know what it's me.
Okay. And your favorite book that you want to read more and more?
Autobiography of a Yogi.
Okay, amazing. And your favorite food?
Pasta.
Amazing. South Indian loves pasta, so it's a very rare combination, I feel. Amazing. And lastly, your favorite attire?
Sari.
Amazing. And you look so beautiful in sari.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we end to our rapid fire round, and we came to our end of our festival. It's till 9 days. We have shared so many students from our academy, and this is the last day, which is the grand finale with the aura of an artist like you, Kalpana Kishorji. We are extremely thankful to have you on this platform with us. You have shared so many knowledge and your experience to us, which is unforgettable, and we will definitely remember what you have suggested to our younger generation. So thank you so much for coming and accepting our
Thank you. And
invitation.
wish you all the very best. And I'm so glad that your academy is doing such a wonderful job, of interviewing artists and sharing their experiences with the students. So I wish them all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wishing you all a happy Vijayadashami, and for Kalpana ji, wishing you a very happy Vijayadashami and greetings. Myself and on behalf of Sanjog Academy also. Thank you so much. Namaste. Good night.
Bye.
Amazing, Kalpana ma'am, and thank you so much. Your views definitely helps the learner to grow in future. It's a fruitful conversation between these two talented artists. Thank you to our dear Amartya ma'am for her conceptualizing and helping each student to create this beautiful performances platform Rudrani. Thank you viewers for supporting and encouraging us. This is the end of our festival, but I hope jaldi hi milenge with such kind of beautiful events. So good night, happy Navratri, happy Dashra once again. Namaste.
सुरैरमरैरपि सेव्यमाना सदा भूयात् सिद्धिदा सिद्धिदायिनी सिद्धगन्धर्वयक्षाघैर्सुरैरमरैरपि सेव्यमाना सदा भूयात् सिद्धिदा सिद्धिदायिनी सिद्धगन्धर्वयक्षाघैर्सुरैरमरैरपि सेव्यमाना सदा भूयात् सिद्धिदा सिद्धिदायिनी